and welcome to another video. It may be a little bit echoey because I'm in my dining room because I just got finished photographing for a Friday Pages blog post. But today we're going to do some snail mail art, and I have been really enjoying watching some snail mail videos, and generally when I make videos they are inspired by something I've seen or something I'm interested in at the time, and they really get my brain thinking, and so I think they're really cool and I can see people enjoying them, not just to write letters with, but also you could make envelopes and things for your journals as pockets and things like that. So can be related to your journal if you're not really someone who likes to send mail out. I love snail mail. I think the snail mail revolution is coming back with a vengeance, and it is so good to see. Like I said and mentioned in my other video, I have had pen pals for many years, back when I was an early teen, when magazines like Dolly and Girlfriend would have like pen pal ads, and you'd reply to those pen pal ads and go from there. And I had quite a few pen pals that way. I've had pen pals overseas, I've had pen pals in Australia. I love writing letters. I think it's such a beautiful thing to do for someone, and I think it's just something that is out of the ordinary these days, especially when everything is so technological and digital and you can send an email and a flash or a text message. But I think there's something really beautiful about someone who's taken the time to sit down, write your letter, a postcard, a card, anything that is a physical object, and spend that time going to a post office, getting it stamped and getting it posted. I think there's something really special about that, and I think more people need to do it. And because February is the letter mo or NaNoWriMo, which is like International Letter Writing Month, I thought I would do a couple of things devoted to that. Now, I want to talk about some patchwork envelopes, and I will be doing a couple of versions of this. I had the lovely Anai and Maria tell me that not everyone has a sewing machine, so I will keep that in mind when making a couple of samples for you on camera. But if you remember way back when I was doing my journal spill videos and I was sewing all this patchwork paper together, this is kind of very similar, but we're going to turn them into envelopes, and I think it gives such a fun look to your envelope because it's all crazy and colorful. And I've even got an acetate section, and I think this is where my brain goes. I've watched quite a lot of pen pal with me's, mail unboxings, all that sort of thing, and a lot of the envelopes and things look very similar, and I just thought there's got to be a way that I can put a spin on it so that I can make my mail look more like me. And I'm always trying to figure out how can I inject my style into this so I can show you guys, and this is what I came up with because it's definitely very me. All my stuff in my journals is very patchworky, very bright and colorful, and this can be adapted to anything that you have in your stash. This is very much a stash busting project that you can do. And of course, like I said, you don't have to write letters in order to make these. I'm going to be sending some of these off in the mail. I was just having a play, and you can also just use plain scrapbook paper. So this is just, I think, a Tim Holtz scrapbook page. I mean, it's always nice when it's double-sided, and they're very simple, but this, I would have to do stuff to this to make it feel more like me, but it's very simple. And then I also played with tracing paper, creating like a see-through envelope. I thought that would be really cool if you could see all the elements that you've created inside. But today I'm really focusing more on the whole patchwork element and just having a blast with that. Now, with stash busting, I have so much collage paper you don't even know. I have bits and pieces of offcuts from things. I have ripped out note paper. I have things that I've sort of glued together on the fly. I've got like stickers with one sticker on it. I've got, you name it, I've got it. I've got crap everywhere. I've got bits of scrapbook paper where I've just punched out some things and just sort of left it. I've got random transparencies that I obviously haven't done anything with, so I'm going to cut some of those down. And I also have like the paper from my collage book. I've got a lot more stuff. This is just stuff I grabbed off my desk. I literally grabbed a pile of stuff and was like, yeah, that'll work. This is good because it's double-sided, but you could also, if you have a certain theme in mind, you could definitely paint your own collage papers. Some of the background papers that I've given you for collage sheets would work really, really well for this, and I will be doing that as well, grabbing some of the collage bits and pieces. These, I really like the look of these papers. They're just so funky and unique, so I'm definitely going to be cutting down some of these and piecing them together. The beauty of this is that everything just is very patchworky and hodgepodge, and I will be gluing some together because I know not everyone has a sewing machine. I do like the textured look of the sewing machine. I really, really enjoy that. I like that sort of next stage, but like I said, sometimes not everyone has time to sit and sew papers for half a day. I understand that because this was very time consuming. I remember making these, but they were so fun to make and they were very relaxing for me, which is why I didn't mind doing it. But you can definitely create some of this if you wanted to have a dual-sided piece of paper. Gluing lots of papers down on one sheet of, say, like copy paper would work. It would make your envelope super, super thick though. So my suggestion would be to have a mixture of blank and double-sided paper so that you could still have, see, as you can see here, this piece here is single-sided, and you could see that it would be white there, but some of all my other pieces are all double-sided, and these are like taken from the IKEA book, Frankie pages, Flobe magazine papers, because they're a magazine, they're double-sided, and so that works really well. And then there'll be some times when scrapbook paper is double-sided and sometimes it's not. What have I got over here? So this is an Amy Tangerine paper, and it is not double-sided. So I would be mixing that in with some single-sided stuff if I chose to use this paper pad. But a lot of Tim Holtz's paper pads are double-sided. So this is one of his, and you obviously get the pattern on the other side, which does work nicely. But this is like one pattern, and that may be someone's jam. But I really like putting colors together, patterns together, clashing things, marrying things. I really like the look of just seeing a whole heap of different, it's kind of like how I feel about my journals. I kind of smash everything in, like photographs, artwork, magazine clippings, paintings, poetry, you name it. Art and life collide is definitely what these little guys are going to look like, and I just think they'll be a really fun stash busting project. Also, you could be making, if you have a whole heap of washi tape, I'm going to do a washi tape only one. This may be hard. You'll have to use a certain type of glue to adhere your stamps, your postage stamps, and your like address labels, because it'll have that waxy feel. So you're going to have to use a bit more of a heavy duty glue to get those onto your envelope. But it's doable. I think it'll be really cool to match up a whole heap of, you know, themed washi tapes if you're going for a general theme. I've seen a lot of the pen pal videos do color themes or a theme in general, and so that would be very useful if you have a whole heap of tapes that sort of relate together. So these are all sort of vintagey and very sort of florally, naturey kind of look. This one's not, but it kind of suits the theme. So I'd be tempted to make a pattern like this. The only other thing that I have, which I'll have to go grab because I didn't bring it out with me, is I am using a envelope making board, and this saves me a stack of time. It actually got sent to me from American Crafts a couple of years ago when I was working for Jane, and I put it into one of my drawers and I never used it. It literally sat in a drawer because I just like, well, this doesn't relate to me at the moment. I don't see myself needing it. It does boxes, bows, and envelopes. And I just had no interest in it whatsoever until I was sitting there and I saw someone pull an envelope maker out to make an envelope out of some scrapbook paper. And I was like, I'm sure I've got one of those. So I went trudging around and found it in my drawer. And it was still brand new, still in the box, everything. So I will pull that out. It's not a necessity. There are definitely lots of envelope templates online, free ones that you can print out and glue to a thicker piece of card, and that'll do just exactly the same thing as what I'm going to show you. I just like that it makes it quite easy. It makes and because I'm using things like heavy duty multi-layered papers, having the score lines, especially when it came to like the acetate, was really important, because it was quite hard to get through this bit, and I had to push down on the punch bit, but it did work, and I think it looks really cool having a little see-through corner with some of, this is Alyssa Burke's florals printed onto acetate. And as you can see here, I've got like this bright colorful one. I will definitely be doing a bright colorful one. I was thinking like things like this would go really nicely together, and patchworking them together. So I'm gonna go grab my board for a second. There's another little random piece that I can slot in there and kind of show you the board itself. Like I said, this is not a necessity. This is just something I've been using to create my envelopes. And if snail mailing is something that you're really into, then this might be something to save you some time, but it's not a necessity. This is the board. It does come with a scoring thingamajig, but I have misplaced mine, so I've just got my Martha Stewart one that I've had for eternity. And the whole premise is, on here you have the envelope, the bow, and the box, and it will tell you the card size that you want to fit your envelope for, the paper size that you're going to need, and then you have to line it up with the punch guide. Now, because all this is in American measurements, I do centimeters and millimeters and like meters and stuff. So what I started doing was I started cutting the paper to the right template. So this is a 3x4. So when you close it up, it measures 3x4, so like a Project Life card will fit in here. And I kind of looked down the list to figure out which ones would be the best. So this is the size of paper I'm going to need for a 5x7 envelope, and so on and so forth. So I also want to do a 4x6 because that's a photo size, which is this size here. So 4x6 is this size. So I'm going to make a template for that. And obviously there are so many different sizes, but I know there's quite a few that I will just use because I'm pretty sure this one's 3x4. Yep, that one's 3x4. So I made that little patchwork one with a 3x4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of paper, and we're going to make, let's make a 3x4 one because it's small and simple. Let me grab some paper, and will this fit? Oh yeah, you could probably do that. It'll just be a little bit bigger. Let's just do that, shall we? Because it'll be easier. Oh, I didn't realize it's going to be, oh yeah, once you, no, it's not going to work because you've got that gridded bit there. Anyway, I'll get a piece of paper and we'll make a 3x4 one quickly, and I'll show you how simple it is to do it. I've never done the bow or the box, and I don't know if I ever will, but the difference between this one and the other ones is it has this extendable bit, so you can make bigger sized envelopes, like with bigger pieces of paper. That's the review that I read because I was trying to work out if I needed a different one or if this one would work. And obviously not sponsored or anything. This was sent to me when I worked for Jane, but I kept it in a drawer for like over a year and a bit. So if I was sponsored, I'd be using it the moment I got it. And the only reason why I'm getting it out now is because I want to make some really cool envelopes for snail mail. But like I said, not necessity. I'm just showing you what I'm using. I'm going to link some templates down below that you can print out and then trace onto like a thicker cardstock so that you can use that as your board. And my mum, when I was a teenager, my mum had these like plastic ones that you could like, it had a template out the front and then a section in the middle that you would put in the middle of your paper and fold your paper around them, and then you just slide out that bit. I wonder if she still got them, but I remember making envelopes as a teenager with those those metal, it was either metal or plastic, it could have been plastic, templates that she had in her craft room, because I sent so many letters. I was making envelopes out of like magazine pages and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. I obviously still think I'm really cool because I'm still doing it like 15-20 years later. Okay, so I've just grabbed I've ripped a piece of paper out of this book here that I've had for quite a while. It's not meant to be, it's Drawn to Nature, and it was a book that the lovely Patricia suggested that we all get, and we all flocked to it. I don't know if it's easier to get now, but I'm definitely going to be using some of these papers in the patchworking, especially with the nature themed ones, because I think they're just really, really beautiful. But I'm just going to grab my cutter and cut the piece of paper down. So I just picked any, it is double-sided, so we'll see where that goes. I will put it down the bottom so we can see the mushrooms. I'm just going to line it up so that the paper is right on the end, so I get a as accurate as I possibly am, because I'm the least accurate person on the planet. Just ask my friends. I can do nothing at all that is remotely straight. Remotely straight. I know I've got to cut off that edge. I know I got to. So I'm just lining that up with that edge. And I know that like so. And I know that just that one grid line in is where I've got to cut off, because it is the wrong size. Okay, so quick demonstration just to show you before I get on with the rest of the video and we make some patchworky ones. So we're doing a 3x4. Now what you do is you go to the size card you want, and you look over here, and a 3x4 says you need 6 1/4 paper size, and the punch guide is 2 3/4. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and go, okay, there's 2 and there's the 2 3/4. So we're going to line our paper up with that there. Hope that is easy enough for you to see. So we're on the 2 3/4. We're going to hit this button, which is the punching, and we have to score our A line. And they have little guides in here, so you can just take your paper thing like so down there. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to line up our line here with the line here to make sure that they all line up like that. We're going to punch it again and do the same thing. Don't push too hard. That was one of my things. I was so used to pushing hard on the patchwork ones that I was ripping my normal paper. And then I'll just make a little groove here. Yep, I've already punched it too hard. So we're going to do that again. And you do that to all 4 corners. Put your line up. Like so. So your paper is going to look like this. Now if you want to have it just depends on which one you want, whether you want to go with the trees on the inside and have the flap open up to the mushrooms, which I think would be kind of cute. I would get my corner rounder and round these corners as well. Obviously one's already rounded, but I would round these ones too, but I've left my corner rounder on my desk. And then all you do is you're just gluing these down to make your envelope, like so. I don't know which way you prefer having it inwards probably, and then having your envelope like that, and then your score lines create really neat folds like so. Super cute, would be really cool for journals as well. That's why I kind of didn't mind sharing it, because I thought it'd be really cool. You guys would enjoy seeing these come to life, and then you could make cute little pockets for your journals. But also I'm making them for snail mail purposes, so I thought I'd take you through step by step of some of the things I'm making, and this was the first thing that I wanted to make. So I thought, why not start with these postcards, and then I'll work on tip-ins, and then I'll work on everything else, and then I'll probably do a start to finish video on putting together someone's package, like someone's snail mail package. So I thought that would be a really cool idea to sort of show you guys. But I thought I would just focus on the one element, because I know sometimes it's very overwhelming to see something done really quickly, and there's lots of moving parts to it. Especially when I decide to do something, I like to try and reinvent the wheel, and I try and do 50,000 things. And I know if I was watching someone else do that, because I've had those moments, and I've watched someone else make this thing from nothing, and there's all these moving parts and there's all these different things, it is very easy to get overwhelmed and then not even attempt it. So I thought I would show you the envelopes and a fun way to do the envelopes in a couple of different ways, and then in another video I'll show you some extra things like tip-ins and stuff like that, or like things that I would include, all sorts of things. We're going to do wax seals. Yeah, there's lots of different elements that you can make snail mail super fun. This is no hard or fun. This is no right or wrong either. This is not the Bible of letter writing. This is just something that I really enjoy doing. It is International Letter Writing Month. I have already mentioned that before. Your collage sheets had snail mail stuff in it, and I urged you to send an Inky a postcard, write an Inky some mail, and I'm definitely trying to do my bit. I've been sending packages all month, and mail and stuff like that, and this will be these ones that I make today will be going out to you guys. And I just thought it'd be really cool to sort of show you a different way that is really fun and quirky and different to make some envelopes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting together some of my patterned paper in speed and make quite a few. I think I'll make a couple of 5x7s, because I really do like the 5x7 size envelope, especially if I'm sending happy mail to someone. If I am wanting to send quite a few bits and pieces, I would be sending this over something like a 4x6. But if I was making a card, I would definitely do that. I may make some, you never know, but I need to make a template for the 4x6 so I don't have to fiddle around. So I think 5x7, 3x4 and 4x6 are my three sizes that I'm going to want to use. But yeah, I think I will make a template for the 4x6 now, and then I will start putting together all my papers. I'm going to go grab a few more bits and pieces from my studio, because I've got some here. The see-through paper one that I used was just tracing paper. You could probably use baking paper as well if you wanted to, or vellum, but I don't have access to vellum very easily here without it costing a fortune, because it's so geared towards wedding stationery. And we don't get access the way you guys get all those beautiful printed vellums and things in America. Well, I am yet to find someone who does that in Australia without charging like your firstborn child. So I've just decided to use some good old tracing paper. I think it's really cute. I haven't put this one. Oh yeah, I did. And I thought to make something really bold and bright on the inside. I've got a confetti punch. I've got lots of ideas. It's very inspiring, and I like to make videos that are inspiring me in the moment, because my excitement gets you guys excited. So I know at the moment I have quite a few different things going on video wise with the Beyond the Page series and my sketchbook series, but these are things that I can do ongoing and have lots of different avenues to expand. So never fear, we're gonna do as many things as possible in 2020. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling a bit more rejuvenated it's amazing how your mindset can shift so quickly from month to month. Like at the last bit of January, actually all of January, I felt like crap creatively, and a big chunk of February I felt the same, and that's why I started working my sketchbook. And it was almost like a switch flicked when I started working in my sketchbook. And then I don't know, and the museum trip and watching the snail mail revolution unfold in front of my eyes. I think it's just there are little things that really do light a fire under our ass. And I currently have a furnace going, and I want to make all the things, draw all things, do all the things. I'm probably going to burn out soon. That's okay, but I'd rather burn bright while I can. And at the moment, I'm really excited to make some patchwork things. We are going to do some glue ones and some washi tape ones. I will do those first, and then we'll do some sewing ones, because I know not everyone has a sewing machine, and I don't want to leave anyone out, because I think these are so much fun and it might get more inky mail out in the universe. Right, so I have done my template for my 4x6. So this is the 4x6 size, the 3x4 and the 5x7. You can kind of get a glimpse there. So I've done it on paper I'm not too fond of. This one I was fond of, but I just want to make another template. So they're there for reference. So what I'm trying to try to do is I am going to build my patchworkness around these sizes and then just trim off the excess. So things that I've picked out of my stash randomly are clippings from magazines. These are things that I've done for collage sheets. So they're like project life cards. They may be a bit too thick, we'll see. This is a Japanese paper book that I picked up in Japan. And so I've kind of got random sheets of this sort of paper. More little bits from Sabrina Ward Harrison's book. This was a tip-in that I made of some IKEA paper, but it's all torn up, so I thought, why not? Flow paper lovers books, like actual just plain colored paper. This was from my journal spill, but it's still quite a big piece of paper. So this is IKEA, printed photo, some of the paper from a calendar. I've got post-it notes. I've got paper from Sabrina Ward Harrison. This is Flow paper lovers, but I really liked the floral of it all. Scrapbook paper, of course. Paper that I've received in Happy Mail. So this is really thin old paper, and it's pink. I don't know if it's old actually, but it's there. I've got collage sheets from Tisha Moore that I've got wrapping paper, and I've got pages out of my collage sheets, like way back when I did a lot of like patterns paper for you guys. I've obviously got all the papers that I showed you before. I've grabbed some overhead projectors that I had sort of in a box to do some of them. And I've obviously picked up some washi tape, some bright colorful ones for when I do the colorful looking thing. So they're there as well. And then obviously you saw my like more vintagey one there. So the name of the game is to get to the sizes of the templates. So I might go for the big one first. So I need to rip and tear. I've got glue and double-sided tape for these ones so that I can not do any sewing. So these ones are just using adhesive, whether that be matte medium, you could do that as well, but I've just got some you know, a glue stick and a double-sided tape thing because it's easier and quicker for me to do. And a lot of this I will be ripping and tearing because I like that sort of patchworky edge. Some of them I'll cut down, but obviously these are all quite large pieces of paper, so I want to do a whole lot of downsizing some of these. So I do get, see, this is meant to be an envelope from the Paper Lovers Flow magazine, but I'm pretty sure that's very much like my, yeah, it's very much like my wrapping paper. So I might keep the envelope template and cut it out so I have another one, because this is a different style. It's more of a rounded one, so I might actually keep that. So if you've got Paper Lovers Flow books, like the big chunky ones, they have envelopes in them that you can cut around and then trace them onto a thicker piece of cardstock, and that can be your template. So there's an idea for you. But yeah, I think I'll rip up the wrapping paper Oh, and it's hot pink on the inside. Oh, nice, nice, nice. So I'm going to do that in speed and start building a couple of different templates. My battery is flashing, which means I gotta go change it, and my teacup humans are about to walk in the door. So no more talking from me, because I will be talking to them as I do all this. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see what these look like. I can't wait to, like, even just these little pieces here together kind of make me really happy. So I'm gonna have a blast making these for sure. I'm super excited to make some really fun patchworky things to send off in Happy Mail to you guys. So stay tuned and get all your supplies out and make some envelopes along with me, guys. It's gonna be addictive. I can see it. It's like Scrap Monsters, but the snail mail edition. It's stash busting. It's using all your things. Don't hoard your papers. I know you've got a butt ton of them. I know you do. You can also make your own painted papers if you're not a hoarder of paper like I am, but I know there's not a single soul in our little inky tribe that doesn't hoard paper, because I know we all do it. I know it's like Paper Hoarders Anonymous, but it's not anonymous because I see you. This is basically where I pick all my papers, or not even really pick my papers. I am just tearing pieces off so that I can move all the sheets to the side and sort of grab bits and pieces and start building things and putting patterns that I like together, whether that be pinks, florals against graphic print, grabbing some acetate, because I do really like that acetate element to the envelope, especially in the corners, and just basically have some fun with putting patterns together. With this kind of envelope, I wasn't really trying to stick to a theme. I was just enjoying putting all the color together. I did try to have a variety so that I didn't have all of one type, and I did try and not repeat things as much. So there's my kids when they realized I was filming, and they're like, hi Inkies, and not really realizing that I would be speeding this bit up. So they'll be disappointed that they're not basically in there, but yeah, I'm trying to grab things that look really cool. I really love this collage paper. This book is really hard to find now. I got it super cheap. I got it for $5 when Riot was having a closing down sale, and I know a lot of people have had a really hard time finding this book. It is a cool collage book, and then it came with collage papers to use, and it's double-sided, and they're really cool, and I really love this book. But every time I've tried to link it, I can never find a copy for you guys to find. So I am getting to the point where I've got like pages that I'm not too fond of, but some of these patterns really worked. Like the sort of blue china print looked really cool on some of the patterns. I've got pages from the IKEA book that I bought a couple of copies of. I'm just really enjoying this process. I always say that I'm a collage girl at heart, and this definitely makes my heart song sing. I love how these envelopes turned out at the end of the video, and I am basically getting my template out and trying to keep my paper size restraints to the same as the actual template. I'm not gluing it down to the template, I'm just building around it. So you can see I've got a corner piece there, and then I start building around to try and keep to that size, so I don't have to do too much trimming, because the blade of my trimmer was broken, so I was hand cutting things, and I can't hand cut anything straight to save my life. So I've got a new blade for my trimmer now, so life is so much easier. I was like, as soon as the weekend came, I said to hubby, right, it's time, we need to go get a new blade for my trimmer, because this girl can't deal with not having measurements and straight lines. For this sort of thing, you kind of need stuff to be straight. And I realized that even though I followed a template, every single one of my envelopes are all different sizes, even when they're meant to be the same size. And that's just how I roll. Hubby had a good chuckle when I showed him two A5 5x7 envelopes, and they were completely different. My 3x4s were completely different. I don't know how it happened, but YOLO. They all look cute, they all worked out, they all folded okay, but they're all random sizes, and now I don't know which one is the true size. We'll never know. I really loved this sort of patterning pairing with the I don't know, they look like weird guitar shapes, I don't know, the crayon looking things, and the sort of sketchy white dots on the black thing. I loved that pairing so much. When I was putting all the papers together on my desk, that was a pairing that I knew that I would repeat several times over in 2 different envelopes. It just didn't disappoint. Now, let's talk about snail mail and pen pals. I know there is a thread in our Facebook group for your addresses, but if you would like to go this step further, you are more than welcome to ask in the group for a pen pal. There have been a few inkies that have stepped forward recently. Maybe that's because of the talk about NaNoWriMo and all that sort of thing, looking for a pen pal. So don't be shy. This is the place to do it, because it is a very safe group. It is filled with amazing people that have very similar interests to you guys, and you guys can get to know each other outside of the Facebook group and exchange happy mail, exchange little stickers or little craft supplies, little tip-ins, handmade items. I have quite a few people that I write to outside of the group for that very reason, and some of them were inkies to begin with and now they're not, but we still keep in touch via snail mail, even though we could definitely message each other digitally or through like Instagram, anything like that, but we prefer to stick this to the snail mail route. I have been getting letters, like I said, for a very long time. Some of my best friends in high school, we used to, each night it would be someone else's turn, and I remember sitting in bed reading a 4.5 page letter from my girlfriend, and then it would be my turn to reply, and I even considered contacting her on Facebook to see if she'd be willing to do that again, because we haven't spoken since we graduated from high school. We went to different universities, we took different paths, and we sort of had a little bit of a falling out, and I really did think about sending her a message and saying, hey, do you remember when we used to write each other massive letters? Would you like to reconnect that way? And I think it could be a really cool way to rekindle a friendship or to start a new one. Like I said, you can definitely put a wanted ad in the Facebook group if you're in the mood to start something. But do remember that if it falls apart and you guys don't, one sends a letter and the other one doesn't reply, please do not hold me or anyone else accountable. If you decide to be pen pals and things don't go as planned, that is not on the group. So just keep that in mind, because I can't be moderating that sort of thing. But I really don't think inkies are like that. I really don't. And I should have scanned some of these full pages before I turn them into envelopes, because I think they just make really cool collage fodder for myself. It would have to be personal use for myself only, because a lot of these images are not mine. Actually, none of them are mine, bar a few little bits and pieces. So it'd be something that I would have to scan and then use for myself. But I didn't think about that. So maybe in the future, I can make a whole heap of patterned paper for you guys to do this as well. I think it'd be really cool. You could also use images from Unsplash. If there's really cool graphics on there, we could definitely make a envelope collage paper pack as one of the monthly downloads. If you're interested in that sort of thing, leave a comment down below so I know if that you're interested in this. But like I said, you really don't need more stuff from me for this project. You guys already have all the things you need in your stash already. Printed papers, collage fodder, magazine clippings, scrapbook paper. I know we all have a metric ton of scrapbook paper. This is the project for you, most definitely.
it's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer?
Even though I used a lot of the same prints in these two envelopes, they look completely different when they are finished. It really doesn't, it's a really hodgepodge way of creating and I absolutely love it. I had such a blast sitting at my dining table, although my very clean dining table now looks like a craft room spewed all over it. There is so much paper everywhere, but I don't care because I was in my element. I had music going, I was creating, I was making envelopes. I just had a blast. I absolutely had a blast, and I think making all the other elements that go along with this will be so much fun. Because my envelopes are all patchworky, it means all my other elements can be patchworky too, and that can be the sort of theme of these sorts of things. And I will show you at the end of the video a color themed one that I was meant to capture on camera, but I ran out of space on my SD card and my battery ran out when I wasn't looking, so I got all the way finished, looked up, my camera was off. It didn't even beep at me, which is what made me so mad. So I didn't capture any of the pink themed envelope that I did create, but I do sort of talk you through it and walk you through it at the end when I have a little bit of a chat. But I really, I can't stress this enough. I had such a blast. Like I said before at the start of the video, there are links down below to some templates that I've found on Pinterest. I also have a snail mail inspiration board on Pinterest. I'll link that down below for you guys, so you can see the sorts of things that I pin in relation to snail mail. I'm also thinking about doing a pen pal tracker, so I can put my pen pals information down, their likes, their interests, and also when I send out a certain piece of mail, when they receive it, especially if I have more than a handful of people that I'm writing to. I want to make sure that I am not being a slack pen paler. I want to make sure that I keep track of all those things, and I have a personal ring bound planner sitting there doing nothing, and I think that is what will be filled with that. I did look at them online on Etsy, but there's no reason why I can't just make one myself.
Dropping clues. There's no need to rush, so let's just take our time. Dropping everything, 'cause you're stuck on my mind. So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go, come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think we were meant to be. into the night, into the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go, come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think we were meant to be. I never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back. While I'm on a one-way track.
Now it's time for the washi tape one. These were so fast and so quick, and you can just make giant strips, you can do small strips. I find it really interesting that no matter what direction you went, it always ended up diagonal. So I want to experiment with how they look, I guess, because I think if you went diagonally on the actual paper, when you folded them up, they would be straight because of the orientation of the envelope. But like I said, these were so fast to do, and I know everyone's got washi tape. You could theme these as well, but I like the hodgepodge nature of it all. And so I did try and do a little bit of everything. I did cut a template down. So this is just normal copy paper because I didn't want it to be too thick. I did think about trying Tomaway River paper, but I think that might be too thin. And I did only do it one side. I didn't do it both sides, but I tried to make sure that the bit that you see me folding over now was the bit that the envelope opened up to. I think from memory, I did two versions of the washi tape one. This one is just sort of funky patterns and stuff, and the other one I did more vintage because I know that not everyone's going to want my crazy color patchwork, you know, all the colors, all the shades, all the patterns. I tried to tone it down a bit. And of course, if I have pen pals that are really into vintage stuff, I can still do vintage. I have quite a lot of vintage things. Even when I sent some snail mail out to the US the other day, I wrapped everything up in a vintage sort of feel because I knew that the lady, Amber, really loved that sort of stuff. And so it was a pleasure to create something vintagey with the parcel that I gave her. So I sound like a broken record. I really loved this, and I can't believe that this little board has been sitting in my drawer of my studio for over a year, and I hadn't touched it, looked at it, pulled it out, nothing. I kind of was like, yeah, cool. I don't know when I'm going to need this, and it has just been so handy. I've really had a blast with it. I wonder if they do different sizes and things, but at the end of the day, since I've been looking at some of the templates online and some of the cool ways to fold envelopes through Pinterest and things, definitely this is just like something, if you've got it or if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself or anything like that, there's no reason why you can't grab it for yourself or ask for it for a gift or something. But there are so many tutorials online on how to fold envelopes in different types. The seed envelopes I was looking for. So you can see, yeah, when you open up that flap, I've just got that folder over the washi tape. Now I decided to do a really big sheet with the vintage feel one so that I could cut it down. And if I had a little bit of extra left over, that's okay. And it also meant that I was doing different layers of the tape. Like it wasn't all just one line. It was sort of cutting it and chopping it. So because I'm still very new at doing this, I was experimenting with what the patterns would do and folded and things like that, but I just had a fun time, and it's such a simple project that you could have your kids do it as well if they wanted to send some happy mail to a classmate. I think it's a really cute idea. I can't say it enough. Like I get really giddy about certain things that bring me a lot of joy, and this was definitely joy bringing.
almost thought I'd be waiting, waiting in vain, but suddenly there you were. Never thought it'd be easy to feel you in my arms, but now we're here and I'm all in, and I wonder by you, 'cause I can stay till the morning, or stay till the dawn, but just hold me now. I wanna be so much better whenever you're around. I wanna say something clever to get in your mind, 'cause right now we're not together and I lose my way then. Oh, I feel so much better whenever you're around, whenever you're around. Yeah, yeah, whenever you're around, whenever you're around.
Now, last night I ran out of card space and battery space, so I didn't get to show you. You can also just work on plain envelopes. These are the envelopes that I buy in bulk, and I've had the same pack of envelopes for quite a few years actually. And these are the things that I normally send school notes to school in, just the plain sort of business letters. They're very basic, they are very cheap, but I have quite a lot of them and they've lasted. I think I bought a pack of 50, and this was before Elijah even started school. Like, I bought them for when I was doing daycare letters, and Elijah's now in his second year of high school. So, and I still have heaps left. So they are something that you could definitely use if you don't want to go through the process of doing it like this. You could basically collage an envelope. I did a pink themed one. This is what I worked on last night, and then when I realized my camera had died when I had barely even started it. So, and when I was editing my footage, I'm already up to almost an hour, so I'm not going to collage another one in this video. I may do one in the studio vlog because I just think there's not enough time. But I did grab all my pink related things, pink paper, pink cutouts. I found pink vintage floral paper, Tisha Moore collage element, sticky tape, not sticky tape, washi tape. So I grabbed all that, and then this was one of my little photos that I had printed out when I was making my sketchbook, and it's very pink themed with the macaroon. But you can see how quickly you can turn a very basic envelope into something very fun and cool. And I think having themed colored, like I was going to do a green one because I've got quite a few green bits and pieces, so look out for that in the studio vlog. I just wanted to show you that you don't have to go to all these steps as well. I mean, I really like how funky they all look together and how different and wild they are. The only thing I will say that if you go this route and you want to use acetate, put your acetate on the edges of your piece, not in the center, because I've realized now that when I put my address label on there, that acetate is going to get covered up. So once you've made a few, you can kind of get a feel for where things are going to go. So I would tend to stick the acetate on the outlying areas and not in the center, because the center then becomes where your address is going to be put, and then you lose all that fun part of it. I mean, there's still acetate in the corners, which is probably where I would like them to be because it's just a little bit different and it's nice and sturdy. But yeah, a lesson learned with that was that I was like, oh man, it's in the center. But now that I know, I can make sure when I'm building these patchwork things that I won't be putting acetate in the center of my pieces of paper. This one I didn't use any acetate, but I did refold it so that I had the papers in a certain way, and I really like how that one looks. And then you saw me work on the washi tape ones. These are all done with washi tape, and I think they look really cool, and I know you guys have all got washi tape in your stash. Like I said, this is a great stash busting thing. And the late last night I played around with this beauty. Now these are a laminated sheet of my pressed flowers, and then I built all the envelope around this. So I traced the elements of this envelope. So I traced the flap and the sides as well, and then glued them to the edges of my acetate, or not acetate, of my laminated sheet. And suddenly I have a really cool, interesting envelope, and that is very much how I work creatively. I will start something and then my brain goes, how can I change that? What else can I do? What else have I got? And then I just happened to see this laminated pouch when I was laminating flowers ages ago when I did all my pressed flowers. I was like, that would be a really cool way of displaying some of your letters. You can see the letter on the inside. If I was to laminate more flowers, I would make sure that I would have a little bit less in the center, same as the acetate issue, because I don't want all my flowers to get covered up by my like address label. So yeah, I was, this took me a while to figure out last night because I obviously had to build the envelope around the actual sheet of laminate, but it is something that I want to explore more. And again, you might see me tinker with this idea in the studio vlog, or I may actually include this in the next snail mail video because I want to do some work with dried flowers with hot glue and wax sealing. So there's lots of really cool stuff that I want to play with and experiment with and show you. And it just goes to show that when I started doing this, it then creates a domino effect, and suddenly I want to do crazy things with envelopes because I think it's just really, really cool. And someone said that they'd want to put their really nice envelope inside a plain one, and I was like, nah man, nah, I want all my colored crazy to be out on show because I think it will be really interesting and fun for postal workers to see, and it creates conversation, and I think it might make some mail people's day a lot happier. But that is all I'm going to show you for today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.